be completed before the end of the year.
Question number 7, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Education. Did she ask for or receive a list of the schools that would lose or gain more than one teacher as a result of the new ratios prior to taking the policy to Cabinet for approval? If not, why did she not ask for that information, or that list? Sorry.
The Honourable Hekia Parata.
Mr Speaker, as I clarified in the House last night, my office received a list of schools that were affected by a combination of forecasted roll growth and ratio changes. However, this list was based on a different funding formula.
Supplementary
The
question.
Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Supplementary question. Did she ask for a further breakdown or any further information on the likely impact of the proposed new teacher-pupil ratios on the schools that had been identified as likely to lose more than one teacher as a result of the change before she took the proposal to the Cabinet? And if not, why did she not ask for that information?
The Honourable Hekia Parata.
Mr Speaker, in the iterative policy process, I asked for breakdowns of different parts of that, and I took those impacts to Cabinet.
Point of order,
Chris Hipkins.
Mr Speaker, I asked whether she'd received a further breakdown on the impact of those proposed new teacher-pupil ratios, and I'm not sure that she answered that question. She said she asked for a range of information, but I was asking specifically about the schools that lost more than one teacher, and she didn't address that.
Does the Minister wish to add any further to her answer? The Honourable Hekia Parata.
Yes, Mr Speaker. What I said was that in the development of the policy, there are a number of iterative processes, and those have led to running lists that are relevant to those refinements. And that included what the impact would be on the 90% who would gain one or another, because the member is suggesting that there was one finite stage. In the iterative process, we have looked at what the impacts were for the 90% who gained or lost one, and for the 10% who had a bigger effect.
Chris Hipkins, supplementary question.
Did she examine the final list of schools that would lose more than one teacher as a result of her ratio changes?
The Honourable Hekia Parata.
Mr Speaker, yes.
Chris
Supplementary
Hipkins.
question, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, did the Cabinet paper she presented proposing the change to the teacher-pupil ratios contain a breakdown of the number of schools likely to lose teachers, gain teachers, or have the same number of teachers as a result of the change? If not, why not?
The Honourable Hekia Parata.
Mr Speaker, Cabinet made a decision on the basis of our focus on how we would raise quality, how we would raise student achievement, and what the impact would be across the 2,436 schools, and wanted assurance that the 90% that 90% would either lose or gain one full-time teaching equivalent, that the 10% would have a greater impact, and that we had transition options and contingency funding available to deal with that.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Chris Hipkins.
Mr Speaker, I'm not entirely sure I followed all of that, but I'm not sure that, as a result of that, I'm not entirely sure that she's addressed the question that I asked.
Order. It's a difficult situation we get into where, the question asked was actually an absolutely proper question. It didn't make any assertion in it. It didn't have any content alleging anything had happened. It just asked, did the paper the Minister took to Cabinet contain a list of the schools that would lose however many teacher equivalents? Now, in answering, the Minister says the Cabinet made its decision based on these sort of things. If the question had asked on what basis did the Cabinet make its decision, that would have been a perfect answer. But the questioner didn't ask that. Now, it could be a perfectly acceptable answer to say, I do not reveal to the House the detailed content of a paper put in front of the Cabinet, I guess. But simply to ignore the question asked, I believe, I'm on my feet, is not reasonable. And I think the member's got a fair point. He asked an absolutely straight question, and it was totally ignored. The Honourable Hekia Parata. Well, here the Honourable Anne Tully.
Sorry, if my hearing isn't as good as yours, sir, but I'm not sure that
It's
that was
probably a lot
the
better.
actual question that was asked. Could we have the question repeated?
Indeed, certainly. I'm very happy to do that. Chris Hipkins, please repeat the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very happy to repeat it. Did the Cabinet paper she presented proposing the change to teacher-pupil ratios contain a breakdown of the number of schools likely to lose teachers, gain teachers, or have the same number of teachers as a result of the change? If not, why not?
The Honourable Hekia Parata.
Mr. Speaker, I did take a paper that had a breakdown of the numbers of schools. I did not take a paper that had the list of the specific schools.
Question number 8, Dr. Paul Hutchison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Health, what progress in our public health service making, what progress is our public health service making in achieving the government's health